I'm bored. Let's watch Ryan Kinel. You know what? It's always entertaining watching these guys crash out and fall for rage bait over fan castings, because that's what I call this stuff. Like a lot of times with these castings, it's literally just accounts doing rage bait. And most of the time, these castings are incorrect, which is why I say they're bait, because it just causes these guys to crash out and make videos about it. And then I get the joy of like watching them perpetuate all of these lies and untrue shit to their fans. And then I get to make fun of them for doing that. So let's watch this video where Ryan is crashing out about Hunter Schafer possibly being in the Legend of Zelda movie. Let's do it.
On the heels of the big success from the Super Mario Brothers movie, a lot of people were wondering if this was going to be the start of some sort of Nintendo cinematic universe with a bunch of the different IPs and characters that they have. And shortly after that, we heard a Legend of Zelda movie was announced. But shockingly, at least to a lot of people, it was going to be a live action movie that they were working on. And some Zelda fans out there, they were hyped. They're like, I'd love to see Zelda live action. I'd love to see a Zelda movie. Bring it on. But those very same people who might have been super excited, not sure if that's the case if this rumored casting comes true.
Oh, transphobia. That's what it is. So transphobia hit them. Which, by the way, I think I've pointed this out many times before. We live in a weird bubble on social media when it comes to this kind of stuff. This kind of news doesn't really translate outside of our space regularly until it's confirmed. So this kind of clickbaity, rage stuff about people being cast and stuff, unless the studios come out and announce it and it becomes like a legitimate thing, typically it just goes away and nobody thinks about it. So I don't think there are, like, in terms of gaming, I don't think every single Legend of Zelda fan is going to see this and fall for it. I think they're going to look at it and go, okay, then there's probably a bunch of them that aren't transphobic pieces of shit. So, I mean, that's what you've got to account for. Let's go ahead.
Today, a big rumor is going around about Hunter Schafer reportedly being eyed to play Princess Zelda in the...
Shout out to Hunter Schafer for constantly being cast in roles and properties that make these guys upset. I think it was Mystique like a few weeks ago, and now it's the Legend of Zelda movie. So it's funny to me that this is like the go-to actress that the rage baiters go for whenever they want to get people mad about queer people. So shout out to her for being a real one. Let's continue.
The live-action Legend of Zelda film. There's a problem with that because Hunter Schafer, very openly, a trans actress. Hunter Schafer.
Okay, so what's the problem? Are you saying that only people of their sex or gender are able to play in those roles? So would you say that a straight person shouldn't be allowed to play a queer person? Or that if a character in a movie is trans, that only trans people should play that character? Or is that door open for cisgender people? Because you would need to be consistent in that. Because the minute you're not consistent, Ryan, you show your hand. And I know the answer to that is there's no consistency. You would agree that it's okay for straight and cisgender people to play those roles, but you don't want gay and trans people playing roles of the opposing sex or gender. That's the stance you have.
Zelda in the live action Legend of Zelda film.
Right.
There's a problem with that because Hunter Schafer, very openly, is a trans actress. Okay. Hunter Schafer is a man.
So they say that with such gusto, right? So the problem here, and this is what it really boils down to with these guys, is they have a genital preference. It's more about the genitals than it is anything else. Let me dive even deeper here. In these movies, and in most interactions with movies and people that you would run into in real life, you're not going to see what's below the belt. You're not going to be privy to that. Those things are going to be covered in clothing for like 99.9999% of the movies, TV shows, and people that you run into. So in their minds, the simple fact that they believe that Hunter does not have the genitals that they prefer, they are worried about whether or not she can play a role where that's never going to be an important factor. It's never going to show up. It's a Legend of Zelda movie. We're never going to see that. And so to them, in their minds, they can't seem to figure out how to not objectify the actor playing the character by reducing them down to what their genitals are. because that's what these guys are all about. We're going to talk about the whole biological stuff here in a second. I'm going to let him speak a little bit.
In fact, not that long ago, we talked about Hunter Schafer having a meltdown because he had to put that he was male on his passport because of the new administration. Hunter Schafer, a man to play Princess Zelda in Nintendo's live-action adaptation. Let's look into this. Trans actor.
Oh, Cosmic Book News, man, that's going back. I haven't seen a story from Cosmic Book News in forever, so that's really interesting. Maybe all the normal clickbaity stuff wasn't fast enough for him, so he had to jump on the quickest one that he had. By the way, this AI, which, you know, no support to AI, like, don't fuck with artist money. This AI mock-up of her as Zelda looks great. Just shout out to that.
Hunter Schafer, rumored for Princess Zelda. A big rumor hits the net that trans actor Hunter Schafer is being eyed to play Princess Zelda in Nintendo's upcoming live-action Zelda movie currently in development. Now, I will say it's coming from Daniel RPK. I think about half of what he posts is absolute nonsense bullshit made up. And
so if that's the case, then why are you getting mad? Why are you proactively getting upset about it? And so here's the problem with this, right? The problem is it is a rumored casting from somebody that you have already said is not consistent. So that's the issue, is you are now, again, even after the Mystique stuff, putting Hunter Schafer in the line of fire for something that she has nothing to do with. Which, by the way, even if she was cast in this role, she's an actor taking a job, and you would be mad that she's getting a paycheck. So that's not right either. But in this case, you're not even like giving her the chance to take the job and actually give you something to be mad about. You're getting mad about something that isn't even confirmed or isn't even real. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Half what he posts turns out to be true, usually reported by somebody else first. The rumor comes via scooper Daniel RPK, who recently dropped all those leaks for the Marvel Vision series coming to Disney+. We'll have to keep an eye on this one to see if it's actually true. Hunter Schafer is known for HBO's Euphoria, Hunger Games, I think was in the Hunger Games Songbirds, A Ballad and Snakes that not a lot of people watched. It will be starring Amazon's Blade Runner 2099 series. The actor also revealed his newly issued U.S. passport lists him as a male, despite identifying and selecting female on the application. Now, the only thing I've seen Hunter Schafer in is in Euphoria, where Hunter Schafer plays a man, where Hunter Schafer plays a transgender person.
It's so funny listening to him stumble through what he's supposed to be saying here, because it's so hard for him to not say her. Isn't that crazy? That's the crazy part. Because in his mind, he has visually seen Hunter Schafer as a woman on pictures and everywhere else, that he has to force himself to revert back to pronouns that he believes should apply to Hunter Schafer. The gender that should apply to Hunter Schafer. That's how difficult this is for him. And that's always very telling, because they are actively fighting against what society has taught them, which is the presentation of the person in gender. So he's actively fighting back against that.
A man who identifies as a woman.
Here we go.
Hey,
struggle through it.
If there's a role out there, if that's in your story, that sounds like the perfect role for you. I don't know about Princess Zelda, however.
Okay.
And there's the same thing we just talked about. The live-action Legend of Zelda movie is officially in development, with Nintendo teaming up with Sony to bring the iconic video game franchise.
By the way, Cosmic Book News is a shit site. Never use them as a news source. It's propaganda.
As to the big screen. Now, for a while, we've heard things like activists out there, the pronoun crowd, all these freaks that are out there only on social media but don't actually.
That's othering people. So what he's doing is he is establishing that everyone that would support Hunter is a freak. So that's the immediate, we're going to other them so we feel like we're the morally superior side of this argument. It's a very weak tactic that these guys use to sort of give themselves power. It doesn't give you any power here. Fuck you, Ryan. Let's continue.
Actually show up to movies, right? They have been huge advocates of Hunter Schafer playing Zelda.
Why not?
And I think that was because a year ago or something, Hunter Schafer got asked about this and was like, yeah, I look kind of like an elf and I played that video game. That'd be really cool if I got to be Zelda in a movie at some point in time. So
you're going all the way back to her comment about it. Bro, you're mad because this actor who you're never going to be with intimately may not have the genitals that you prefer. That's where we're at, bro. That's where we're at. Because it's never going to be a factor in the movie. We're never going to see that happen in a Legend of Zelda movie. Maybe in some adult version, a satire, parody of that, but never in the real movie. So you're proactively mad because you reduce what a woman is down to a vagina. That is actually, like, I see a lot of these debates where people argue about what is a woman, and these guys skate around. Well, it's this genetic thing, or it's because of having children, or it's because of X, Y, Z, whatever. But literally, it is just a genital preference. And I'm sure the people in the comments for this video that are being negative know deep down inside, whether they want to admit it or not, that's actually what it is. To them, that's actually what it is. To them, that's what a woman is. Someone with a vagina. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters to them. So this whole game of like pronouns and stuff, these guys don't give a fuck about that because they have to actively force themselves to say the opposite of what they see in front of their eyes. And that's what makes them really upset.
Latched onto that, and they put all this stuff out there. This point, it's pretty early in the process. This movie isn't supposed to come out till 2027, which probably does mean they should be gearing up and figuring out who's going to play these characters soon. If this is actually what they do, if this is reality, if this is something that Nintendo or Sony are actually considering, buckle the fuck up. Because what the hell are we doing? Do I really need to say much more than that?
Oh my God.
Is there much more description that needs?
There's actually not really much more. We're not going to listen to you ramble on anymore. We get the gist of it. These guys always love to argue about biology, but they don't really know. They don't know XXXY or any of the other nuances when it comes to biology and women and men and intersex and all of those different things. They don't know any of that. It boils down to this. These guys have a preference for vagina. And therefore, when they see women in public, in their minds, they have to believe that that woman that they're seeing has a vagina just in case. Just in case they date the woman or take her out, have a one-night stand. They want to make sure that that is available for them at any and all times, even if they're never going to see this woman without her clothes on. So here we are talking about a movie that's probably going to be, PG-13 movie, and they're worried about whether or not the person in this role would trick people because they're concerned about that. But through your entire life, I want you guys to understand this. Through your entire lives, when you encounter people in public, whether it be in person, whether you see people in movies or TV shows, you are always believing what they have below the belt. You're always assuming what they have below the belt. The only time you would know for sure is if you are in an intimate situation with that person and those things were available to you. Other than that, everything is assumption, everything is belief, and everything is self-identification. And that's what makes this so frustrating, because how would you determine if a trans woman came up to you and said that she was a woman and you thought maybe she doesn't have the genitals I prefer, but we're never going to be together? How would you determine whether or not by your criteria that this person were in fact a woman? You would have to take their self-identification or the social and visual cues that are in front of you. And that's it. That's all you have. It's all a belief situation. So these guys get mad and outraged and upset about this, about a fucking video game fan casting that is literally for them just rage bait. And they take it every single time it comes in front of them.